sports. Like people can say whatever they want. They can come and join me and see if it's not a sport. Like you play soccer, you practice 2 to 3 times a week, and then you have a game on the weekend. But bodybuilding is not that. You work out like 4 to 6 times a week, and that's your lifting. But you should still do some cardio. 30 minutes. I mean, my training right now, I have 30 minutes of 35 minutes of cardio every day, and then I have 5 days a week of training, and you have to do some stretching, constantly. And then there's the whole diet part. So it is a sport. It's more than it's not just and when people see guys with big muscles and they're like, oh, they take gears and that's why they're so big. No, gears doesn't do it. Like you can take all the gears in the world. If you don't train really hard and your diet is perfect, gears doesn't do nothing. So people have really the wrong understanding of bodybuilding as some vanity type of exercise to make yourself look good, and it's a very difficult sport. And people that go do bodybuilding, you're sure that they must have decide. They're people that are really disciplined in general in their life, because to be able to do bodybuilding and to be so disciplined in terms of working out and the nutrition, you must have already like a mindset that allows you to be disciplined in other areas of your life. So it's a great, I think, for people to do it. It's if you can do it, you can put your mind to do a lot of other things. So I really encourage people to do it because it helps you in many other areas in your life to be disciplined.
Yeah, it's not it's not like a sport like basketball or football. But like with you, like you've been doing it for like 20 years. Like were you competing and stuff? Like how did you
I've been doing it
start?
for 20 years. I've been my oldest son is 19. My first competition, one of my son is 14. My first competition was when my 14-year-old son, 6 months after my 14-year-old son was born, and I did OCB. OCB is a natural organization. I did
Yeah,
OCB in Albuquerque, New Mexico, figure, and I placed second. Um, and so that was it was born in 2009. 2009 was my first competition. And I started with figure, and figure at the time, the girls were not big like figures. Now figure is, you have bikini, wellness, figure, you know. It wasn't at all the way it is now. And then since then, I went back to France because I'm from France, right? I went back to France for 2 years, and I competed in France. I went to the final championship, and I did figure. When I was doing figure there, the girls were huge, like they were like bodybuilders looking. It was terrible. I didn't like it at all. So it's a very different. It was a very different way over there. And then I did. I must have done maybe a total of 10 shows, about 10 shows between
hmm,
bikini, figure. I studied wellness because wellness is a new category in America. I studied in 2020, 2021. Wellness comes from Brazil. And so they just it was good that they started it because wellness was kind of a way to, because when you're doing bikini, if you get a little bigger, getting to figure was too much. It was hard to go from bikini to figure, right? So for them to add wellness, your lower you is the wellness is the only category where you have to have this proportion in your body, where the upper body is less muscular than the lower body. So they want you to have big legs, big butts, but they want your upper body to be more than bikini, a little still muscular, but not too muscular that it shows like the same level of muscularity between your lower and your upper body, which is what they want in figure. Figure, everything has to be proportional and nicely, um, um, kind of the upper body is just as a good proportion with the lower body. So
right.
wellness was nice to have, you know, the uh, the, the wellness champion right now, the IFBB Olympia champion for wellness. Her name is Franciela. Um, Matos, I think. And when you look at her, I mean, she looks she's amazing. And it's good that they chose a woman like this because she's big but not too big. Like when you see all the other competitors now, they're much bigger than her. But there was, the IFBB just mentioned that that's what they want, someone like her. So anything that's going to be bigger than that, they're not going to be, they won't place in the first. So I'm glad that they're kind of, because they are seeing wellness girls getting too big, like really really big,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so then it's just not what they're looking for. Um, so yeah, I mean that's it.
Yeah, I mean, is it like always frustrating with you, like with the judges, they're telling you what you need to do, and and then they could change at any second.
Yeah. It's a very subjective sport, very subjective, because you're not judged on the way you look that day. You're judged on the way you look compared to other girls, right? So you could have the same body on three different competition and lose one and win one just because the girls you compare to are not as good as you or they look
Yeah,
better than you, right? And even if your body looks like, for example, like I feel that. Oh, let me turn that off.
no problem.
Um, so it's not I feel. This is the way it is. Like for example, with the bikini girls that I was with, um, the bikini girls that I was with at this last competition, all of them were really skinny. Um, and so when I was at the middle of them, I looked bigger than them, but I felt that my body compared to when I saw like some pros bikini was really nice. But because all the girls were really skinny, they took me out. Like they would not compare me to them,
Yeah,
because the bodies are too different. And so that's what is difficult, that you never know who's going to show up. And you could have like just five girls. And so you're going to place in the five first because there's only five girls. And that allows you to go, a little higher into place. Or, when at the last competition, we were like 22 girls, right? So, it could be 22 good girls. And then you're still at the end because a lot of them are really good. But, that's how it is, and you just keep on doing, and it's really expensive. Like competing is
yeah,
a lot of money. Like you can't just like say, oh, let me just see how I do, and I'm just gonna compete because between the suit and the makeup and the trip and the hotel and the registration. The last competition I did is $265 per category per class. That's a lot of money. So when you kind of got to be ready financially, you're gonna be ready in your life. Like you got to be stable when you want to compete because you got to be you have to sacrifice so much that you cannot be like stressed out about your job and stressed out about your relationship and that kind of stuff. So with a good coach is should let you know when you're ready and when you're not ready to do a competition.
yeah. I noticed that it's not just a physical sport; it's more mental.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, if you don't have the money, it's like it don't make no sense. Like I could
Hmm.
never be a bodybuilder. I've always worked out like in the
Hmm.
in the park. Like maybe like once in a while. I remember I had I got a friend, and he would take me to the gym, and it was once in a while stuff, but mostly it was like in the park doing pull-ups and or probably
Hmm.
even just doing yoga
Hmm.
and stuff like that, and or
Hmm.
just doing meditation stuff. But
Hmm.
bodybuilding, it's not like a sport. I'm more like a fan of women, women, women bodybuilders and stuff. So and then like I would watch like some interviews about how the struggles that they would go through, especially like in NPC, like amateurs. Some of them they've been doing it for like 20 years or 30 years. They getting a pro card, and I mean, that's not very easy. I wouldn't. I don't think I would be able to do that because it's not for everybody. So
Yeah. But I think you really also have to kind of put your priorities in place. Like you cannot, I the woman that would put getting their card or becoming professional as a priority in their life, I think it's the wrong priority.
yeah,
It's just not. It's not worth it. Let's put it this way. Don't put that as a priority. Like, you have your family, you have relationships, and maybe then you put that as a priority, but not, it ruined a lot of relations. For me, I can tell you that, I've worked on it, but when I was, 10, 15 years from now, when I had my children, it did affect the way I was as a mother. I mean, I would leave in the morning. All my babies, I would be leaving in the morning for a couple of hours. I was all my kids, I breastfed for a lot of them for very a long time, and I would leave, and they would cry and cry. They would be with their father, and it was hard for them. I know when I would leave, even if I would leave just a couple of hours in the morning, I didn't do it because I had to go and make some money. I did it because I wanted to go to the gym and compete. Is that a good enough reason to leave my baby crying? It's like you got to
yeah,
ask yourself. You know what I mean? So I made decisions sometimes that were not good for, and even today, my kids. I have six children. I just had an argument with my 16-year-old daughter the other day, telling me like, she thinks I should be spending more time with her, and I'm like, when like I'm doing everything so that I can be home as much as possible. I don't go to the gym after work, right? So that I can be with you guys. I don't have to wake up I could wake up at 8. I start working at 9. I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to be able to go to the gym, right? So that it doesn't take away from my family time. Like, why are you complaining? So even my kids bring up, even if I try to do my best, and I think she's exaggerating, even my kids bring up the fact that I spend too much time at the gym, you know. And when I'm close to my competition, sometimes we have to go twice a week, twice a day. I mean, I have a gym at my house, I have a treadmill, so I try to do the most that I can if I have a second session. Um, I mean, they're so used, like, one time my friend was telling to my son, my 19-year-old son, look how your mom looks, because, my weight fluctuates a lot. I can go, high and I can go low because I know how to lose weight. And she was like, look how she changed, how her weight, how she lost weight. And my son looked at her and was like, Mom, I know. She was like, Raja, I know. Mom does that all the time. I know she can change her body like this, because they used to see me over the years. My body can change and I can shape my body. Uh, Everybody can do it. Like it sounds crazy to hear it, but if you put your mind up to it, you can build your body really, as long as you're very disciplined in what you do. So, and that's a good. It's good for my kids, because they learn, they know. Uh, my 14-year-old son was just telling me yesterday, said, Mom, I had a science class the other day, and we had a pre-test to know what we knew about nutrition. And I did the test, and I knew a lot of stuff from what you had taught me already. And I was like, oh, that's cool, as much as I can, I take them to the gym if they want to train. Uh, Anytime they want to come with me, I'll come and I'll take them and I'll train them. But they're not really. My kids are into soccer because I used to make them play
yeah.
soccer.
They still young.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
still
So,
they still
but
they still
bodybuilding is good
young.
for any sports. It's an add-on. When if you have good muscle, it will help you for any sports. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So everybody does weight training at a professional level when they play sports, or some type of, even if it's using your body or, it's and it's good for your health. Now today we know that lifting weights will help you live longer. It helps with your bones. It helps with uh, not just about losing weight. It's about also building muscle. Is what's gonna, make you live longer. So everybody, any ages, you can be up to the time that you die. You should do as much of weight training as you can.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you look good at 50. You know, you're like you're around my age. I'm 47. You know,
Yeah.
so I
So
mean,
you're 1976, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a 70s baby.
I'm
What? So,
1975.
yeah, yeah. That I mean, we're the same age basically. You know, so I mean,
Yeah.
well, I could show some pictures. I mean, just for the viewers to see you in action and
Yeah.
stuff. So your last competition was in Pittsburgh, like how, this year, right? How was that?
Yes, yes, it was in Pittsburgh. I looked the best that has ever looked was Buffalo. That was last. That's this is when
Last
I
year?
yeah, no, that was this year when I get to go to national. Allowed me to go to national. So first you do local shows, and then I get to go to when you go to national, then you can it's when you can get your pro cards at the national shows.
Yeah,
Um, and that's when this last Pittsburgh one. This is wellness, but the last Pittsburgh
yeah,
one I did bikini. Um, but I was the most satisfied with my body that I ever been. Which I think in bodybuilding that you have to compare yourself to yourself. That's my fiance there. He was competing to that one in
yeah.
Buffalo too.
How
In
was that
body,
for him? Like,
well, he just started because I'm the one that said you got to compete. you you got to try because he's been lifting weights for many years too, probably for the last 15 years, but he never competed before he met me. And I'm
yeah,
like, you're really gonna enjoy it. So he trained for that one. And he was gonna do the Pittsburgh one, but we decided to not do it together because it's just so intense when you're a couple, when you compete.
right,
If the two of you are prepping for the competition, it's just you need a support, like it's so much better if one is competing and the other one is not, and you're supporting the other one, and you help with the prep and the meal, and you're very irritable because you're like in a low calorie and you still have to train. So he's gonna do that same Buffalo one next year,
okay,
um, which is like in March. It's a local one, and I'm just gonna be helping him and just be supportive. But he really enjoys it, and also it's also very expensive. You have to again, it's all about being stable in your life. He works hard. He has his own. He's independent contractor, so he has his own company. So sometimes just finding the time to do all that stuff for the prepping for the competition is not easy if your life is not like already really stable in order. Like people have to remember that, like, when you decide to compete, your life has to be stable. It's
yeah,
just you can't do it like if your life is not stable. Yeah, so that
yeah.
was the last. This one was the last one.
Oh,
So
okay,
Karen at the middle is my coach, and the girl on the left is another of her athletes that was doing wellness, and she gets second, and that sucks because when you get second, you don't get your pro card.
yeah,
You had to be first to get her pro
yeah,
card.
yeah,
Um, but that's the sport. No.
yeah, yeah. I remember I was watching a documentary about this NPC competitor, and she was like doing all this traveling just to kind of like compete and stuff, and she like the dieting and and I think in her last show she didn't do as well. She didn't make the top 10 or something like that, and she was kind of a bit discouraged and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's why you cannot put that as your priority. I make it part of my life as something that's positive in my life. Every show I try to bring some of my kids to, so that I can have some
yeah,
time with them. The last show in Pittsburgh, it was my 9-year-old's birthday that weekend, so I took him with me with my 6-year-old daughter. Um, like every show, I bring one or two kids with me when I travel, so that I can have that individual time with them, and they're part of my journey to bodybuilding or to my pro card, so that they see the results. Everything that I do, they don't know. Like, I mean, they see me practicing and posing, and they make fun of me and they pose, and my daughters like because I have three girls and three boys.
Yeah,
So they pose and make fun and that kind of stuff. But so I don't take myself like too seriously. This is not. I mean, I take myself seriously, but at the same time, it has to be part of everybody else with me. Like
yeah,
I have to be careful the way I go about it.
yeah, yeah. I had some clips of you in action, showed a little bit.